Welcome to part 3 of the XR pistol. The video today will be focused on slide rack and magazine. So I have a training magazine that I started working on. There's a hole down the middle here to be able to take additional weight. So carriage bolts and all thread are what I've ended up deciding I'm going to go with here because it's a nice way to be able to add both mass and rigidity to help make sure that these are nice and durable no matter what happens to them. Cheap, easily accessible, and so that's just there as a visual reference. I don't yet have this mag where it's locking in here, but I have my tolerances pretty good for initial testing that I've been doing here. And so outside of that, the slide rack is the really exciting one because it's taken a long time to get here. So you'll see we have our overextended slide here. If you look at the B button up here though, when I pull this slide back and it goes to its extent, that's where we go. So I'll move my finger up here. Focus isn't great there because autofocus is a nightmare. But once I go back here, this initial doesn't matter. Once you get to the extent and you pull on it, right there. So just like with a real pistol, you pull back and you get there, and you pull and you let go. So if you were to rack this like a real pistol, you go like this, that really quick at the end, when you're pulling back and you just let your hand continue to extend back there as they both drive, you've got the same feel. And I measured the distance that we're traveling back here between start, back, and all the way, and it's pretty much the same distance of movement that you have from slide lock to max extent you'd have on a real pistol. So we have our ergonomics now for the slide. If you didn't see the previous video, you'll see the magazine's out. So we have our A button that's down here. And when I go and I put my magazine in, you'll see this goes up and the A button is not pressed now. So we have our state of A is the magazine removed, so you're moving that state changes. And then you have the state of is the slide racked, and that presses down B. So now our logic is just a state like you'd expect. This also means for slide rack, say that I want to do a malfunction clear, and maybe there was a failure to eject, it caught brass partway through and I'm simulating a failure in game. Well, this means I can turn my pistol this way so that ejection's facing down. I can rack twice like this, and in game, I'll be able to the first time have it drop a brass, second time it could eject another one, and then I see, okay, functions are cleared. I know the state of whether this is back or not, so I'd be able to look over in game and see, okay, it's closed now, there was brass caught in here previously. And now I can mirror all of the real world failure scenarios. Yes, I don't have the same amount of movement here, but really the importance when you're racking a slide, and of course a healthy state, is it's in slide lock and it extends back here. So making sure that that's always extended back there is good. Now in game, say that I have failure to eject, it would be partial. I can show the model with this part not all the way back. So you'd go and you'd grab on this normal part to do a normal rack. And this is still, yes, not the full extent of travel, but it's really the best compromise that I've found so far. And so if you have any other ideas, feedback, that type of stuff, send them over this way. I should be getting an initial version of this up for people to download soon now. And I'm still going to have some changes that happen, but the core functionality I think should stay pretty similar. Now so the physics behind the slide rack, I forgot to cover that. So I overextended the slide in front of this area with a little M2 screw that sticks up here. There's a pivot here to change the linear motion going back and convert that into forward. So when I pull here, that pin goes back onto here, and when I pull, see there's not a ton of movement there, but this right here goes from here up this way, pushes on this, and when that pushes, we get our button press. And so that little bit of motion, it actually decently simulates the amount of force that you'd have when you pull back in the slide rack too. And since this is printed with this side down, my layer lines all run this way. So this force gets distributed over all these two layers that are this way. So you shouldn't really be able to over muscle. Now you could over muscle anything that's plastic, but it should, I believe, be decently durable. So there are the updates. I've been quiet for a few weeks because getting to this point was a mental trip. But hope you enjoyed the updates. Drop by the Discord or join us on Reddit if you've got any feedback, or if you want to join, be an early tester of the software, or you want to play with the hardware, or you have ideas. And thanks for joining us. Have a good day.